I was going to die. He eyed the sack of seeds I had spent the morning gathering. In my haste and terror, I had dropped it, and seeds had spilled out between the boulders. The boy's gaze shot up, and the clamor of horses and shouts filled my ears.
"Did you get something?"
A loud voice, the one Amma hates, the one she and the others whisper about, the one who stole Venda.
"They scattered. I couldn't catch up,"
the boy called. Another disgusted voice.
"And nothing was left behind?"
The boy shook his head. There were more shouts of discontent, and then the rumble of hooves again. Leaving. They were leaving. The boy climbed down from the boulder and left too, without another glance or word to me, his face deliberately turned away, almost as if he were shamed. I didn't see him for another 2 years. The close call had instilled a heavy dose of fear in me, and I didn't wander far from the tribe again. At least, not until one warm spring day. The scavengers had seemed to move on. We'd seen no sign of them since the first frost of autumn. But there he was, a head taller and trying to pull cattails from my favorite pond. His blonde hair had only grown wilder, his shoulders slightly wider, his ribs as evident as ever. I watched his frustration swell as the stalks he pulled broke off one after another, and he came up with only worthless pieces of stems. "You're impatient." He spun, drawing his knife. Even at the tender age of 10, I knew I was taking a risk exposing myself. I wasn't even sure why I did it, especially once I saw his icy blue eyes, feral and hungry like a wolf's. There was no recognition. "Take your boots off," I said. "I'll show you." He stabbed at the air as I took a step closer, but I sat down and removed my own calfskin slippers, never taking my eyes off him, thinking I might need to run after all. As his fear receded, so did his wild, glassy gaze, and recognition finally spread across his face. I had changed more than he had in 2 years. He lowered his knife.
"You're the girl between the boulders."
I nodded and pointed to his boots. "Take those off. You'll have to wade in if you want to get some corms." He pulled off his boots and followed me out, knee-deep into the pond, the rushes springing up between us. I told him to feel with his toes, to work them into the mud to loosen the fat, fleshy tubers before pulling. Our toes had to do as much of the work as our hands. There were few words between us. What was there for a scavenger and a child of the Remnant to say to each other? All we had in common was hunger. But he seemed to understand I was paying him back for his act of mercy 2 years ago. By the time we parted, he had a sack full of the fleshy roots.
"This is my pawn now,"
he said sharply as he tied the sack to his saddle.
"Don't come here again."
He spit on the ground to emphasize his point. I knew what he was really saying. The others would come here now, too. It wouldn't be safe. "What's your name?" I asked as he mounted his horse.
"You are nothing,"
he answered, as if he'd heard a different question from my lips. He settled into his saddle, then reluctantly looked my way again.
"Jafir de Aldred,"
he answered. "And I am—"
"I know who you are. You're Morrighan."
He galloped off. It was another 4 years before I saw him again, and the whole of that time, I wondered how he knew my name. Chapter 2. Morrighan. I had returned to camp warily that day. It seemed being afraid was in my blood. It kept me ever aware, but even at 10 years old, I was weary of it. From an early age, I had known we were different. It was what helped us to survive, but it also meant little passed by the others, even the hidden and unsaid. Amma, Rian, Karis, Oni, and Nedra were strongest in the knowing, and Venda too, but she was gone now. We didn't talk of her.